What you doing?
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
Hey, is the power off on this?
I don't know. Just take it off.
Safety violation, unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at georgiaconstructioncareers.com.
Good afternoon and welcome to the 370th episode of the Alfa Insurance Georgia Prep Sports Drive for the GHSA State Title. Today we're going to go over the first 3 days of the baseball state championships. Tonight is going to be at the start of Class 4A and 2A, so we'll preview those series and then go over the previous 6 state championship results. Also talk some spring football and look ahead to what's happening in June. But let's get started with a story that actually got probably more attention than the magnitude of the incident, and that's Sokovie White, the great cast receiver we saw play, hit the headlines this weekend for a reckless driving charge in Athens. And so the news hit out, and of course a lot of the headlines would state yet another UGA player arrested for a driving violation. And here is the thing about that Clark County Athens police force: they don't give you any free passes. They don't say, hey Sokovie, did you know you were driving the wrong side of the road? This is a one-way. Please turn around. Nope. And a lot of people find out the hard way in Athens. So I'm just going to go over 2 stories because this has just been a ongoing theme. So there's an offensive lineman from the 2008 season. I don't want to give his name away, but he is a current high school coach at Roswell High School. So it was his 21st birthday in the middle of the season. He had just torn his ACL, so he didn't play in that game. He dressed out, though. He's in a lot of pain. So it's his 21st birthday. He's just trying to get back on track, still having to deal with all the schoolwork. It's hard to get around. So after the game was over, he gets in his car and he tries to go to the dining hall to eat some food. Well, it was his 21st birthday, and on that day, his license technically became suspended. Instead of saying, oh, happy birthday, did you know your license got suspended? They booked him, made him go to prison, and then wrote all these headlines. Just completely insane behavior from that police force. People think that the athletes have the benefit of the doubt and get away with everything. It's not true. These cops in Clark County itch at the opportunity to arrest a football player. Another time, I was on Broad Street in Athens, and by the way, I complained about this once, and the UGA recruiting staff got so mad at me for saying that it was a problem in front of potential recruits. They said, don't say that. Don't let people know. That's how bad it is. So it was in the middle of a class change, and there's hundreds of people crossing the street, and I'm in front of a crosswalk on a moped. I let about 20 people cross in front of me. The light turns green. I didn't want to just stand there, so after they pass, I moved 10 feet forward and then stop once again so the car behind me can let more people cross the crosswalk. All of a sudden, I get pulled over, and they give me like a $250 ticket for crossing a crosswalk while there are people on it. even though I was letting them cross and just trying to get out of the way. Another thing they did, they randomly changed all the parking on campus from moped/motorcycle to just motorcycle, and they gave every single person a ticket in the middle of the semester with no warning that they made that change. So Sokovie, welcome to Athens. That's just how it works. Glad your coach has your back, but don't drive at 3 a.m. and don't let that happen again. But I think you'll be fine, but definitely an overreaction. The reckless driving thing, I guess that's technically correct, but he was released on a $26 bond. It is not that serious, and Sokovie is an absolute baller. Let's see what they said real quick. I can only speak for my university. Oh yeah, by the way, that incident I was talking about, the 21st birthday, that was so egregious that after that, the football staff began looking at everyone's driver's license and keeping a track on it, and then if it was someone's birthday, they would make sure that it was updated. Because think about how easy it is to lose track of knowing that your 21st birthday is going to change when you're in the middle of a football season, you got practice every day, and you just tore your ACL. All right. So yeah, I have mixed reviews on that police force. All right, I can only speak for my university, but I think we do it better than anyone else in the country in terms of education speakers. Georgia coach Kirby Smart said following, he's talking about Antoni's arrest. Your point about the NIL, we've done studies and looked. We have more kids with vehicles now than we probably ever have. Can't really say to the style of vehicles, but you can probably make an easy assumption that with more money they have an opportunity to have nicer cars. Just the number of players with vehicles is higher. And yeah, back in the day there was no parking at the athletic complex, but I guess more people are driving cars, which honestly is probably safer than a 340-pound lineman going on a moped. All right, so let's move on. Just wanted to give Sokovie some support. All right, so the baseball state championships started on Thursday with Class 5A, and that was Loganville, and they were able to get it done. 5A with teams like Cartersville, Ola, Ware County. There's just so many teams, Kell, that were in contention this year. But Loganville just seems to have the dynasty going. That was probably the biggest miss on my rankings for most of the season. I had Loganville sitting around 6 or 7, and that mistake will not be made next year. They are phenomenal, as tough as it comes in the playoffs, and that is their 8th all-time state title and 3rd straight. They beat a phenomenal Cartersville team. I'm pulling up these recaps right now. And then obviously on Friday there was tons of weather delays, or that would have been Saturday, sorry. And honestly, I don't know why Class 6A decided to play their entire series. Game 1 was originally supposed to start at 5 o'clock. So every Friday series swept. So then on Saturday, they had a 5 o'clock start just in the chance that one of those other series needed a Game 3. Well, the weather pushed Game 1 back to like 8:30, and Etowah did not end up clinching its state title till almost 2 a.m., which that is just crazy. And imagine the poor grounds crew at Coolray Field having to get there early. They had to put the tarp on and off 2 different times, and then didn't get to leave until 2 a.m. I hope they packed a lunch. All right. So we're going to go to, let's see, point up these recaps. All right, let's start at Friday. And Friday, the big storyline there was all three of those series had defending state champs. You had Class 7A with Lowndes, Class 3A with Harlem, and then Class A, Division 1 with Prince Avenue Christian. All those teams were pretty heavy favorites in these series, and they ended up sweeping and defending their title. So in Class A Division 1, Prince Avenue Christian beat Tallulah Falls 6-5 and then 9-4. The defending state champ, Prince Avenue Christian, by the way, last year was their first ever state title, so they've definitely got it going on. They needed just 2 games to win the program's second state title. It took 8 innings in game 1 to get the 6-5 victory, and then once they clinched that, it was 9-4 in game 2. In the opening game, Prince Avenue Christian trailed 5-3 entering the bottom of the 7th and had a 2 RBI single from Trey Taylor that brought home sophomore Dylan White and senior Andrew Gillespie. And let's see that Gillespie name. I think he's the one that's committed. Yeah, he is a Samford baseball commit. All right, White's double to right center scored senior Will Goff and secured the victory in the 8th inning. Senior Mason Banks pitched 6 innings in the first game and had 5 strikeouts while allowing 11 hits after facing 29 batters. Cole Broxton closed the game, allowing 1 hit with 3 strikeouts after facing 8. In the second game, the teams were scoreless through the first 4 innings, but scored 5 runs in the top of the 4th to take control. In the streak, Eli Attaway doubled to left center to score Judson Hartwell, and Goff senior Connor Cosby singled to left to score Attaway. Kyler Giddens singled to score Taylor, and then Hudson Hill singled to score Cosby. That's the 5 runs. Tallulah Falls got on the board with a fielder's choice single from Chris Waldron that brought home Chase Pollock. Prince Ave scored on a single from Attaway that plated Hartwell after a throwing error from center field. In the bottom of the 5th, Tallulah Falls cut into the lead on a triple from junior Danny Vigil Grant that brought home Caden Walker, and then junior Diego Gonzalez hit a pop fly to center field to score Vigil Grant. Prince Avenue scored 3 runs in the top of the 6th inning on a single from Gillespie, a walk by White, and a single from Taylor to extend the lead to 9-3. Walker singled to left to score Waldron, but Tallulah Falls could manage no more offensive production. Sophomore Drew Payne pitched 4 innings, allowed 4 hits, 2 runs, and faced 19 batters to fuel the Wolverines, and Tallulah Falls was attempting to win its first ever state title. All right, so Prince Avenue Christian, the first 2 seasons that a Class A Division I existed, they took both titles. All right, Class A Division II, this was on Saturday, Lanier County against Charlton County. Charlton County and Lanier County split the first 2 games of the 2024 GHSA Class A Division II Championship Series. This was at Georgia Southern. Charlton won 5-1 in the first game, followed by Lanier County taking a 5-7 victory in Game 2, and that will force a series deciding Game 3 today at J.I. Clement Stadium. The Indians are looking to become back-to-back champs for their 4th all-time championship in 11 years, while Lanier County is trying to win its first in program history. I compared this series to the Lowndes Grayson one. You have a South Georgia team, just like Lowndes, going up against a team trying to win its first. That's Lanier County. That would have been Grayson. A 4-run second inning was the difference in Game 1 for Charlton County. The team recorded 10 hits, opposed to 6 from Lanier. The scoring in the second inning began with a throw-in error, which allowed 1 run to score following an RBI single from David Walters to give Charlton County a 2-0 lead. and that was in their 5-1 Game 1 victory. Senior Cole Crawford added to the Charlton County offense with a double to left, bringing home Walters and senior Garrett Vickers to give them a 4-0 lead early in the championship. Vickers led Charlton County at the plate, going 3 of 4 in Game 1. Another run for the Eagles in the 5th inning off a bases-loaded walk allowed Hayes Johnson to extend the lead to 5-0. A throwing error allowed by a Bulldogs runner to get home in the 7th, but it was too little too late, giving Charlton County the Game 1 victory. The pitching in Game 1 came from Cole Crawford, and it was the story of the game as he struck out 7 Lanier County batters in 7 innings. Head coach Thad Marchman said, "I think we had a pretty good approach and game plan. Still left too many runners in scoring position." And we'll talk about that in the Lowndes Grayson season. Got some pretty interesting stats for stranded runners. Lanier County recorded 9 hits and held off 12 from Charlton County to secure the second game victory. The Bulldogs responded to an early run from Charlton County by scoring 6 in the bottom of the first to give them an early lead with their season on the line. 3 RBI singles in a row from Lanier County's Grant Gano, Taylon Terrabox, and Hayden Mullis gave Lanier County an early 3-1 lead. A Charlton County throwing error allowed another 2 to score before sophomore right fielder Drake Walford hit an RBI ground-out single to extend the lead to 6-1. Gano's second RBI of the night came in the bottom of the second as he added another run to push the lead to 7-1. The Indians began a run, scoring 6 consecutive unanswered, beginning in the 3rd to tie the game in the 6th. The Indians responded to the 7 unanswered in the first 2 innings with a Cole Crawford RBI single in the 3rd and 2 runs in the 4th inning from an RBI single from Vickers and an RBI from Isaiah Baker to cut the lead to 7-4. 2-run homer to left field in the top of the 5th by Eli Hobbs ended up helping them tie the game at 7-7. In the bottom of the 6th, Lanier County broke the tie with an RBI single from shortstop Ashton Cook and gave them a 1-run lead, 8-7, which proved to be the difference maker. With runners on first and second in the top of the 7th with 2 outs, Charlton County's Ethan Crawford lined out to left field as Lanier County was able to force Game 3. "We made poor decisions defensively with runners on base that cost us," said Charlton County's coach Marchman. They also had some very timely hits, and that will be at 2 p.m. Game 3, a chance for Lanier County to win its first ever state title. All right, let's go ahead. We'll pause there, thank our sponsors, and we'll get back on the other side to talk about 7A and 6A.
Hey, does it matter if this leaks?
It don't matter to me. Can't see it from my house.
Illegal use of hands, improper training.
GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com has 14 different highly skilled trades with tuition-free training in our certified apprenticeship programs to train you the right way. Find your career at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
All right, welcome back. So let's look at Class 6A real quick. This was a pretty intriguing series. Let's see. Oh, great. It logged me out. All right, and going into Class 6A, when it comes to Etowah and Pope, we knew that Etowah had one of its aces starting Game 1. If you look at them all season long, they haven't lost a single series. They've lost some games. I think the one team that was able to defeat this starting pitcher was Kell. That came earlier in the season, the big 13-4 victory. Kell obviously ended up making it all the way to the semifinals. And so Etowah, they had the big 15-0 win in Game 1, but then ended up having to rally in Game 2 for the victory. And why can't I find this preview? Here we go. So these were all at Coolray. That was 5A, 6A, and 7A. All right, so an offensive flurry was the story of the night at Coolray Field as Etowah combined for 21 runs in 2 games in the Class 6A state championship to defeat Pope to win their second state title in program history. This is the Eagles' first since 2017. The mercy rule came into effect in Game 1, so they had a mercy rule and still didn't end up finishing until nearly 2 o'clock. The Eagles defeated the Greyhounds 15-0 through 4 innings. Etowah recorded 12 hits in the opening game and followed with a 6-4 victory in the second game to win the state title. In Game 1, Etowah scored 9 runs in the fourth as they extended their 6-0 lead from the first 3 innings to go up 15-0 and force the mercy rule. The fourth inning was highlighted by a 3-run homer from sophomore center fielder and University of Miami baseball commit Trevor Condon to extend the lead to 10-0, but the Eagles were not finished just yet at the plate. After Condon's home run with 1 out in the bottom of the fourth, the onslaught continued as an RBI single from senior outfielder Reese Ware brought home senior Jake Zener and Walker May. Back-to-back walks from Pope with the bases loaded allowed 2 more runs to score before sophomore Matthew Sherman scored an RBI on a pop-up to right field to put the mercy rule in effect with a 15-0 lead. Sherman was given the win on the mound in Game 1 while also making an impact at the plate as he recorded 2 strikeouts and held the Greyhounds to 0 runs. In Game 2, a 5-run 6th inning from Etowah proved to be the deciding factor. So this is about their comeback in Game 2. Pope struck first with an RBI single from Tanner Minot up the middle in the bottom of the third to take a 1-0 lead. With 2 outs in the top of the fourth, and Pope, by the way, was coming off that semifinal sweep of defending state champion Houston County. So this is a phenomenal Pope team. Condon hit a triple into left field, which was followed by a wild pitch during the next at-bat, bringing him home for the Eagles' first run of the game. After Etowah answered Pope to tie the game 1-1, the Greyhounds had 2 runners on second and third before infielder Carter Yoakum hit a 2 RBI single in the bottom of the fourth to take a 3-1 lead. Condon continued his exceptional night at the plate with yet another RBI in the top of the sixth to cut Pope's lead to 1 run after a throwing error on a failed pickoff attempt was followed by a walk. Etowah had bases loaded with no outs. Zinner hit a single up the middle and was able to bring home Condon and Kellen Foster to take a 4-3 lead in the bottom of the sixth. The runs didn't stop there as 2 RBI singles from Bryce Adams and Jake Sabot extended the lead to 6-3 by the bottom of the sixth. With their season on the line, Pope scored a run in the bottom of the seventh, but Drew Abney grounded out to third, ultimately ending the game. So Etowah was able to win its second state title. All right. Let's see. Let's look at the Thursday one we were mentioning with Loganville. So they took Game 3, 4-3 to clinch the title. That was their 8th state title. A couple edits need to be made right there. Let's see. A single from Angel Quezada scored Tucker Seagars, improved the game and series-winning hit. The victory marked the 3rd consecutive championship for Loganville. Cartersville did all its scoring in one play, a 3-run homer by Luke Smith in the top of the 2nd inning before watching Loganville's rally. In the bottom of the 5th, Quezada singled to score sophomore Aiden Gorvet. Senior Jalen Jones grounded to second base to score Phillips and cut into the Cartersville lead on a wild pitch. Junior Ace Kinney scored to tie it up 3-3. The defending champs Loganville and Cartersville, a quarterfinal team from last year, split the first 2 games after Loganville won 5-3 Game 1 and Cartersville exploded to a 14-3 victory in Game 2. Cartersville scored 4 runs in the top of the first in the key second game to take control on a single from Andrew Purdy, a junior, and that scored Luke Miller. Pretty sure Luke is a pretty big-time football player for them too. Junior Tristan McKibben tripled to right center to score Purdy, and senior Aiden Larkin put Cartersville up 4-0. Loganville scored on a double from Tucker Seagars, who scored senior James Beaver. Senior Nolan Keener drove home Seagars on an RBI to center field and advanced to third on a throwing error. On top of the third, McKibben singled to center field. That scored Purdy. After another throwing error, Charlie Rothschild singled to left center, which scored McKibben and Cam Cochran to put the Hurricanes up 4-3. On top of the fourth, Cochran scored Purdy on a sac fly to extend the lead. Miller was hit by a pitch in the top of the fifth with bases loaded to score Kibben. Larkin doubled to score senior Turner Abernathy and junior Thomas Peters. Caleb Daniels singled to right center to score Larkin and Miller, and then Landon Cole grounded out to play Daniel. That extended the lead to 14-3. So let's bring up the current Max Preps rankings, which were updated today. Obviously, the final 3 games this season might still impact that. Cartersville, who lost to Loganville, was ranked number 4, and these are based off of strength of schedule and record. All right, so in terms of the top rankings in Georgia, you have Lowndes at number 1, Stars Mill at number 2. They're slightly behind them. At one point, Stars Mill was number 1 because of the strength of schedule. Lowndes defeating Grayson put them at number 1. You got Etowah at number 3. And we'll see if Stars Mill, if they are able to win their series tonight, maybe they'll jump Lowndes. But Lowndes 1, Stars Mill 2, Etowah at 3, Cartersville at 4, Parkview at 5. Parkview was defeated by North Paulding early in the playoffs. Houston County at 6. Calvary Days actually listed above Harlem because of the strength of schedule. Their strength of schedule is an 11.6. Harlem's just a 5.7. That is the weakest schedule in the top 25. Interesting. Prince Avenue Christian 9, North Cobb Christian, he's going to play today at 10, Cherokee Bluff at 11. You got some other powerhouses in there. BT at 12, North Paulding at 13, Pope at 15. All right, let's look at 7A real quick. All right, so Lowndes, this is their sweep over Grayson, a very close series. Grayson had such an incredible season. We talked about them losing to Brookwood, losing to Parkview, having to take them into the playoffs, beating Walton on the road, beating Brookwood on the road, both in game 3s, and then they came up just short of forcing a game 3 against Lowndes. And before we get into this, I'll recap. So game 3 was a 4-2 victory. I saw a stat that in that game, I think Grayson stranded 4 runners and Lowndes stranded, I think it was 13 runners in that game. That is how solid Grayson's defense was this year. They didn't have the best pitching. They wouldn't strike out a ton of batters. They want you to get the ball in play, and they were so good at turning double plays and getting out of jams that Lowndes stranded double-digit runners in that game too. All right, so before last season's Class 7A championship victory where Lowndes defeated Parkview, Lowndes had not won a state championship since 2000, a 23-year gap. And before that, it was 1981. But after a sweep of Grayson, Lowndes has now tallied back-to-back state championships for the first time in school history. And that is a very big deal just in terms of the conversation. Who's the best baseball team in the state? Parkview was long considered that, but after going back-to-back, that is definitely going to change that conversation. But after a sweep of Grayson with a 4-3 10-inning victory in Game 1, and then a 4-2 Game 2 victory where they did out-hit Grayson, just couldn't drive some of them home. The Vikings have won back-to-back for the first time. That's their third title. With the opening game tied 2-2 in the bottom of the 10th, senior Ashton Bowler tripled to left field to score sophomore Carson Fletcher and junior Garrett Moon to secure the victory. The Vikings took a 1-0 lead on a single from Noah Thigpen to score Tate Sermons in the bottom of the first. On top of the third inning, Grayson's Cole Wright ran to second base after a throwing error by the pitcher on a failed pickoff attempt, which scored junior Elijah Miller. In the top of the fifth inning, Grayson took a 2-1 lead on a double from Alex Espinoza, which scored Miller. Lowndes tied the game on a pop fly to center field from senior Jordan Hudson. That brought home Jakari Fleming in the top of the 10th. Grayson took another lead, a 3-2 lead on a balk. That brought home junior Landon Arroyos, setting up Bowler's heroics. In the second game, Lowndes went up 1-0 in the top of the third on a pop fly by Thigpen, which scored Bowler. Grayson tied the game in the bottom of the third after Miller flied out to center field, which scored Austin Williamson. Lowndes retook the lead on an RBI from Bowler to play Hudson, and the Vikings expanded the margin in the top of the seventh. Thigpen reached on a throwing error, which scored Page. Hudson got on base after a fielder's choice, which scored Lewis, and then the bottom of the seventh, Grayson scored on a single from Adrian Figueroa, which scored Jaden Nicholson. Grayson was trying for the program's first ever state title, but fell just short. That being said, though, I think they proved just how talented that region was, with Parkview and Brookwood also having tremendous seasons. Let me see if I can find that stat real quick. All right, sit tight. Okay, so Wesley Branch, the sports branch, he had some updates, but this is some of, I guess, the characteristics of this win I was talking about. So, in the fourth inning, Lowndes had bases loaded. It was 1-1, but they hit into a double play, and Grayson was able to close them out to hold that 1-1 lead. There are also some errors in that game. Let's see. All right, well, I can't find the exact stats, but yeah, Lowndes had over, I think it was over a dozen stranded runners in that game. Obviously, the double play in the fourth, that's 3 they left stranded. That's pretty incredible, considering it's a 7-inning game and over a dozen stranded runners. All right, so let's go to today's games. We already talked about Class A Division II. It's going to be Lanier County and Charlton County. Charlton County went into the postseason ranked number 2. Lanier County was around, I think, number 5 or 6. That will be, we have mixed signals coming in. I said 2 o'clock. Georgia Dugout Preview says it's at noon. Let's get a confirmation on that. And you can, of course, go to scoreatl.com. We'll have recaps of all of today's games. I'm still seeing both. But if it starts at noon, be sure to check that out soon. All right, so then Class 2A, this is a series that was originally scheduled for this day. No delays, but that's going to be North Cobb Christian and Appling County. Appling County was able to finally defeat Mount Perrin. That semifinal series got delayed pretty much by like 4 days, I think. It just kept getting rained out. They ended up having to pause play late last week and resume in the middle of it, but Appling County held on. So it would have been a rematch of last year's finals between North Cobb Christian and Mount Perrin, but now Appling County has an opportunity to challenge North Cobb Christian, which won its first ever state title last year. For some reason, Georgia Dugout Preview, their website's not working. One sec. Okay, so they are saying 12 p.m. for the Class A Division II, the Class 2A series, and that's going to get going today at 5 o'clock for Game 1. North Cobb Christian against Appling. Game 2 will be 30 minutes after that game ends. A potential Game 3 would be tomorrow night at 6 p.m. And then the other series, Class 4A, you have Stars Mill against Cherokee Bluff. Cherokee Bluff reached the semis for the first time in state history, and also obviously the finals. That's going to be at 5 o'clock. Last year it was North Oconee against, who am I thinking of? Who was in that Stars Mill region? It wasn't Troop. It wasn't Trinity Christian. It wasn't Whitewater. Who was that? One sec. LaGrange. All right. So last year it was LaGrange against North Oconee. This year, Stars Mill beat LaGrange, and then Cherokee Bluff beat North Oconee. So same region in the championship. Stars Mill has a 13-game win streak heading to the finals. Cherokee Bluff went to a Game 3, I believe, against Holy Innocents in the semifinals. So you have those two series to look forward to. I think Stars Mill does have a chance to potentially jump Lowndes in the rankings, but it will be remain to be seen. Let's go ahead. We'll take one more quick break, thank our sponsors, and we'll get back on the other side.
Dang, where you get this car?
You need to join the union.
The union?
Absolutely. You can get 10 of these.
Union construction workers earn the highest wages with the best benefits and the most protection in the construction industry. Find your career in construction. Go to GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com and start your future today.
All right, welcome back. All right, so also on ScoreATL.com, we have all the golf state championship recaps up there, and we also have some recaps from some of the more star-powered spring scrimmages that concluded this past week. We have riders at the Walton East Paulding one. Najee's been around to a ton of different spring scrimmages and also just practice in general. He's been posting clips of interviews. Be sure to check that out. Follow the Score Atlanta Twitter page. Go to the YouTube page and obviously follow Najee for all his great work. Hayden, he went to Flowery Branch to catch up with them. I think they have a pretty interesting squad. Last year was pretty much like a do or die year for them. They've had some down years, but it looks like they were able to turn things around, get back on track, and all those recaps are up there. Another story we have up there is from Max. The Let's See 43 Foundation announces 17 winners for the 2024 Prepared for Life Scholarship. And the Let's See 43 Foundation has been an incredible partner for Score Atlanta. They've sponsored our Corky Kell luncheons. They sponsored, I'm trying to think what else, but obviously the Georgia High School Football Hall of Fame from the start. And Philip's dad has even worked directly with the Atlanta Falcons and the NFL. I believe this is several years ago, but he was actually at the draft giving his speech about what the statistics are for vehicular casualties and all these different events. And so now they're continuing to do more work, and you can read about these 17 scholarships. Letson Kirkton was an Auburn fan favorite as he was part of the Tigers football program for 4 years. During his time with Auburn, he became a national champion in 2010 when they defeated Oregon in the BCS national championship game. He currently holds a record for most career touchdowns by an Auburn tight end in program history with 14. We were founded almost 10 years ago, June 29, 2014, when Philip passed away. So we're about to hit our 10-year mark of the foundation being created. We exist to end distracted and impaired and unsafe driving to make our roads safer, said Abby Forrestall. So Abby is Philip's little sister, and she's also done a phenomenal job. Obviously, losing her brother was absolutely devastating, but the family is just doing such great work. And I think what's so cool about Abby, her husband is Miller Forrestall, the great Cartersville tight end, ended up playing at Alabama. So you have this Alabama-Auburn rivalry. She got the Alabama tight end, and then he is still in the NFL. And another interesting thing about Miller Forrestall, who's married to Philip's little sister, he was the quarterback at Cartersville, I believe heading into his senior year when Trevor Lawrence decided to go to Cartersville to play for Joey King. And Miller saw how good Trevor was and immediately adapted to the tight end / receiver role. Ended up having an incredible impact. They went all the way to the quarters where they ended up losing to Buford. They got their revenge the next year and had a great college and NFL career. Let's see. Letson Kirkton's younger sister, she's now the director of events and opportunity management. The foundation was created not long after his sudden death in the tragedy and holds the objective of wanting people to make smarter decisions behind the wheel. The foundation adopted the motto, live like Lutz, love like Lutz, and learn from Lutz. Philip was an incredible human. I'm his younger sister, and I looked up to him like he was my superhero, and he was someone who had an amazing reputation and really was admirable and took over a room when he was in there and lived his life to the fullest. He was an available person who was always willing to offer a helping hand, whether it be on the football field with his teammates or off the field in community service aspects with his family. We want people to live, learn, and love like Philip did, but learn deeply about why he is not on earth anymore and learn from the mistakes he made that led to an accident like this. According to the Foundation's website, the award is given to students who have demonstrated outstanding character in the areas of service and leadership, showing these characteristics in their decision to serve as positive ambassadors of safe driving to their peers in their communities. The requirements to win the scholarship include having to be either a high school junior or senior for students that just graduated and are planning on attending a college in the near future. A minimum GPA of 3.0 is required. They have to sign the 43 key seconds to safe driving pledge, and they have to have completed the Safeguarding Your Legacy curriculum. And yet they are directly involved with the Georgia Department of Transportation. They also must plan on going back to school during the fall semester after the distribution of the scholarships. To date, with the 17 scholarships from this year included, they have given away 114 scholarships, totaling almost $500,000. Our scholarship program is our biggest gift back to the community and to students who are basically ambassadors for safe driving in the communities and also learning from Philip's attributes. The Let's See 43 board, the Let's Kirkland family, and the staff at the foundation review all the applicants for the scholarships, which are graded on a 20-point scale. And the 17 applicants selected on an average score of 18 or higher, which came to be the 17 that were awarded the $4,300 scholarship after Philip's number 43. This year's awards winners include, the names are listed right on the site, and then Forrestal believes the message of the foundation as a whole is being available to your loved ones and putting others before yourself when behind the wheel to keep others around you out of harm's way. So that is a phenomenal story. They got pictures of all the recipients. They continue to do great work, and the foundation is really a juggernaut. They're involved in so many initiatives and definitely will be involved in our Hall of Fame. I have a feeling that Philip might even get in there one of these years. His teammate, quarterback Hudson Mason, is doing very well in the voting so far, and people always talk about how Hudson was that first quarterback to really bring a college-ready offensive system to the high school level, bring this high air raid attack. He didn't have a lot of five-star receivers, but he had Philip, who was his lead receiver at Lassiter, ended up getting the scholarship, and I think he also is kind of a trailblazer when you look at how important the tight end position has become. Hudson not only was the first quarterback to revolutionize offenses at the high school level in Georgia, he was not only the first quarterback to really start as a junior, build that reputation, and become one of the highest rated prospects, but Philip really showed how valuable that tight end role is. So that is phenomenal, and I hope they both are going to get in there. All right. One sec. Let's go over some golf real quick. All right, so this will be Monday and Tuesday. Be sure to check out the coverage. We will have at scoreatail.com. So 3 courses will host the championship tournaments for Class A Division 1 and 2. For the golf seasons, they will each challenge the golfers in unique ways during Monday and Tuesday's rounds. Division 1 boys will finish the season at Georgia Southern Golf Club in Statesboro, while the girls will play at Willow Lakes in Metter, Georgia. Southern Hills in Hawkinsville will play host to the boys and girls in Class A Division 2. And so I'm not sure the exact total of how many golfers will be hitting the course this week, but it is going to be significant. And let's just look at some of the reigning champions and dynasties we have going on. All right, on the girls' side, Lambert is going for its 5th straight and 6th in the last 8 years. 2020 obviously got canceled. Glen Academy is going for its 3rd straight. North Oconee is going for its 4th straight. And then Pierce County is going for back-to-back. And then Lake Oconee Academy is going for its 6th straight on the girls' side. On the boys, Milton has won 3 straight. Glen Academy in Class 6A denied Johns Creek its 6th straight last year. They're trying to repeat, and I believe that was their first ever. No, that was their first since 2011. All right, Cambridge on the boys' side in Class 5A. They're trying to win their 3rd and back-to-back. Lovett took 4A last year, defeating North Oconee, ending their reign of 2 straight. Wesleyan took Class 3A last year, and that was in large part to Westminster, leaving Class 3A to 4A. In Class 2A, Mount Perrin won. Prince Avenue Christian in Class A Division I took home its 3rd straight. And then on the boys' side, Class A Division II, Lake Oconee Academy won its 3rd straight. So that will be going on this week. And between golf and baseball, that will finally wrap up the school year. One more quick topic to hit before we close out. I think this is going to be a pretty interesting pair of teams to watch in Clayton County this year, and that's Jonesboro and then Lovejoy. I feel like Lovejoy's had a little bit more football success than Jonesboro, but last year Jonesboro was able to go toe-to-toe with Woodward Academy. They had an outstanding run in the region. They have been able to string together some playoff wins, and when we're talking to people that have been covering Clayton County, and we've had Coach Syrup on the show, we've had their players on the show, Jonesboro was super young last year, and they have a feeling that 2024, 2025, with how many sophomores played last year, they are going to have the talent to really go toe-to-toe and try to challenge for a state title. So Najee was at the Jonesboro-Lovejoy game. The Jonesboro Cardinals used a great defense to power past Lovejoy in a 13-2 victory in the spring game. It was a scoreless game going into halftime as both defenses didn't allow the offenses to get much. There were several punts, 3 and outs, and then a memorable play. It was in the first half with a Jontavius Wyman interception that slowed down a Lovejoy drive deep in Jonesboro territory. And this is from Coach Wyman. He said, "It was going great. It felt like last season when I had," Jontavius Wyman. "It was going great. It felt like last season when I had all the interceptions. It was a great play. I've been working on technique and in the weight room a lot. I've been out of town working with my trainer a lot and just trying to get better." Wyman made several plays in the game and got work done on both sides of the ball. He had several catches on offense and was a mismatch for the defense. Let's just pull him up real quick. So it looks like he was the MVP